Good morning. You sound the screen is good. Yes, is it? Yeah, not blunt.
No.
Okay, so Yud Beis and Mud Beis, and we're up to the next sugi. That's one word, the word sadna. So I just have my notes over here that the Aruch says that it means the trunk. The trunk of the earth is all one. So the Aruch is Rishon. So I don't know how I got the trunk, the translation of his word to mean trunk, but that's what I've written down. Okay, next sugi. So the Mishnah said, "Nachas Mishain Ve'Mila," which means that in the conditions of when are you chayiv to pay for damages, nechos m'shein ben mila, which usually mila goes together with hektish, and it's another way of saying that it's not hektish because hektish is potter. Both if the mazik is hektish or the nizik is hektish, because it says v'chiga shashor yehu. We had a little bit mentioned about this passage before that you're not chayiv if you're mazik hektish, and hektish is not chayiv if it's mazik. We didn't bring down a machlokas of Shimon and Menashe. Somebody said that on the contrary, if you mazik hektish, you chayiv nizik sholem. But we pass on like this, like the other mandiyama, that you potter if you mazik hektish. But Gemara has a diuk in the Mishnah. Nechas m'shein be'amila. It would have been more simple to say nechas m'shein on hektish. That's the simple way to say it. And we're going to see later on there's going to be such a pshat that is going to say that's what the Mishnah means. But first, the Gemara takes a long time to be medayik that it says there's no meila, and meila is a certain condition within hektish, and there's some hektish that is not chayiv meila, and that's what the Gemara is medayik. Meila hu the last bu hektish kachi. It's mashma that even if it's kodesh, if there's no meila, it's not going to be chayiv for being mazik or being mazik it, and that gets us into a new sugya. And the question is, if kachim, if there's possible to have kachim that is privately owned, is it called mamad bailam or not? The Gemara talks about mila, and I didn't get clarity why the Gemara makes that to be the issue. The issue is really going to be the Gemara wants to know if it's possible to be kachim, which you do own, which is it called mamad gavo, is it called mamad bailam? If you have a korban, you made a korban shlomim, you had an animal, and you said, I raise a shlomim, you sanctified it to become a korban shlomim. Is it considered yours now? Still? Is it still yours? It was your animal. You makdish it. Or once you makdish it, it's not yours anymore. And hektish, so the was going to make an issue about this, and the question will be if it was mazik, is it chayiv or not? You had a korban, let's say kachim kalam. It wasn't going to kachim kalam. We'll see a little bit now. Montana, who's the author of this Mishnah? If so, if the Mishnah is mashma, even though it's kodesh, it's potter because it's considered hektish. No, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. The Mishnah says nachas m'shein be'amila is chayiv if it damages. It's chayiv if it damages, and it doesn't say ein be'amila. As long if it doesn't have mila, it's chayiv and damages. It doesn't say that's not hektish. It's chayiv and damages. It's mashma even if it's hektish, it could be chayiv and damages, even though it's hektish. And that the Gemara says Montana. What?
And we learned that you don't.
So that's the question. We learned because we took it lightly. We said ein ben mila means ein hektish, but it doesn't say that. It says ein ben mila. So Montana, who's going to be the author of our mission if that's the pshat? So let's try to just focus on that. This is the first terrace. We're going to have another terrace later on. This is the first pshat that the Gemara is going to go with for a long time. That if so, the Mishnah is coming to say that it's possible that something should be hektish and it's still higher for damages. Because
we're saying that something is hektish. It doesn't have mila?
Yeah, some hektish doesn't have mila.
It only has mila
sometimes. No, mila means that it's something which will be mila if somebody benefits from it. Mila doesn't mean that some benefit from it. Of course, mila is only when somebody uses hektish. But there are some hektish.
Can only happen to right.
Right, and there's some hektishes.
And that's what we thought that it meant.
Some hektish don't have mila.
Mila hektish usually go together, but we're going to see some.
I'm saying there's hektish that didn't have mila.
Right.
And then that's but had mila.
And it's going to be high for the zakin. It's going to be high damages, and we're going to try to find out why. Usually hektish and mila go together, very many times, sometimes not. And the Gemara is being medayik the Mishnah that everything turns on Me'ila, not being hektish. It could be hektish. It's going to be chayv damages. And the Gemara says, who's that? First terrace, Amar Yochanan, Bekachim Kalam, and even Rabbi Yosef Galili, the Amar Mama Bailam. So Rabbi Yosef Galili holds that sometimes some kachim belongs to the owner. It still belongs to the owner. It's still considered his personal money, even though it's a korban. Kachim Kalam, let's say someone had an animal and the animal was going to be a korban shlomim, which is kachim kalam. So Rabbi Yosef Galili holds it's still your money.
Kachin Kali is something that, like, I'm gonna make this a shlomim.
Right.
I'm making
This-
Betsy a shlom,
Right.
and I still own it because
Right.
it hasn't been shechted yet.
Right. You're going a little
Maybe
bit.
we're still-
You're going a little
Is
advanced.
that what
That once
Rabbi means?
he didn't. He said more than he said. He said that he didn't shecht it yet. We'll get to that in a minute. He said
Oh.
once he shechted, you want to know that was
Okay,
different.
Kachin Kali. So he
Kachin
designated
Kali.
it as Kachin Kali.
Right. There's a shlomim, and
And
then
it's still, but he's
still
saying
his.
because it's still his, and that wouldn't prove that it's hektish.
It is hektish. It is
Well, it
hektish.
says Kachin Kali. So
It is.
we care.
Okay, but it's also called hektish. A korban shlomim is also
Oh.
hektish. But since it's only kachim kalim, if it would have made it into ola chatas, something that's kachim kedashim, so then it basically doesn't know that it's your money. And then if it's mazik, it's gonna be pata, or if it's nizik, then it's considered kachim. But if it's only kachim kalim, it basically over there holds that it still is considered your money, and therefore it is chayv in the zaken. It is chayv for damages.
Okay.
And the Gemara puts it together with mila. And it basically holds that there's no mila, that there is no mila.
Wait a minute, Rabbi Yosef, you mean?
It basically will hold that this kachim kalim, there's no mila. I said it right.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that there's no.
Together.
It has to go together. According to Rabbanan, kachim kalim does have mila. They're arguing that point. Only arguing if it's one about.
But then why does that say, I'll leave it to Rabbi Yosef Zigi?
Yeah, that's why it said the chasm shein ve'mila. Everyone knows that there's no mila. That's not the machlokes. The machlokes is if the chasm shein ve'mila is the chayiv of mazik or not. Is it considered yours? The real machlokes is going to be is it considered yours or not? It basically says that kachim kalim is considered yours, and if it's considered yours, then it's chayiv in damages.
And because he can't have any movie,
That's not really the point. The point is not if it has mila or not, but that's not it fits into the shori below social hektish. The question is it yours? Is it yours or not?
So
Right.
if it's monobilum, it's
Right. Everything depends on if it's yours or not. And the Gemara puts in the mila part. The Gemara just wants to say there's some kachim. It happens to be that kachim
there's some
kalim.
touching that belong to you.
Is there no Kachin Kali either?
I think so.
It's just that according to Rabbi Yosef Zigi,
It's yours.
it's gonna be the same as also being monobilum. It's very interesting.
And that's the question.
And the fact that the mission doesn't just say nechasim that are not hektish, it's much better. There could be nechasim that are hektish, and you're still chayiv for the zakat. And the Gemara explains that that'll be kashim kalam. According to basically holds that it's your money. The Tanya, that's a pasuk. We can find the pasuk over here. Wrong side.
And the name of the part of an hour. Ma'al Hashem.
Nefesh kisachta, mal b'Hashem v'kichesh b'amiso b'fikadon b'tzum esyodo b'gazelo v'shakas amiso. It's talking about somebody who had a pikadon. He was given custody to watch something, and he denied it, and he swore that he doesn't have it, and then he admitted that he does. So he has to bring a korban. And so over there, what?
He cases what?
He denies.
Denies.
A soul, a person that sins and rebels against Hashem, and he denies his fellow man about a pikadon, etc., and then he admits that he lied. So there's a korban to bring. So Rabbi Yosef Lili says that even that it says mal b'Hashem. It should have just said that he kichesh ba'misa, that he denied his fellow man. It sounds over here that he did something to Hashem also. The question is that he swore falsely. That's the mal b'Hashem. But he says that's much, but that it's somewhat Hashem's. It's not all personal property, and still it's considered his. Rabbi Yosef Lili says that the din of making a shvua is also going to be on kachim kalam. Someone had a kachim kalam, he had a shlomim, and he asked his friend to watch it for him. Then he comes back the next day. Can I have back my korban shlomim? He says, "What korban shlomim?" He denies it, and he swears. So is that called that he did something against his friend? Was he kichesh ba'misa? Did he do something against his friend? So I want to say he did something against Hashem. It's not your korban. It's not your korban anymore. Once you made it, well, it's not your animal. Once you made it into a korban, it's Hashem's animal. But the basically says no. Even though you mocked the shit and you made it into a korban, it's still your animal. And if your fellow man denies it, he's denying you. He's kichesh b'ami, so he's denying you. So basically he holds that a Kachim Kalim is still your money. So we have a Pshat in the Mishnah. We're happy at this point. What happened? So we'll see soon. That's going to be, Levi Yaakov pointed out, but so far, the Gemara will be in a second. But so far, the Gemara says that if an animal that's Kachim Kalim was Masik, according to basic legally, you're going to be Chayiv because it's yours. Or Nizik also, you can talk about either one. You can talk about if you're Mazik, a Kachim Kalim. So you had your shore was Mazik, your next door neighbor was Korban Shlomim. That's waiting to be. So you're going to be Chayiv because you're their friend. Because it's his. If it will be Kachim, if it will be an Ola, so then it's not his, it's not your friend's, it's Hashem's. So you're not Chayiv for damaging Hashem's. And Hashem's is not Chayiv for damaging you. But if you say that it's Mamad Bailam, so it's considered yours. So if your Shlomim was Mazik, so you have to pay because you were Mazik. If your friend was Mazik, your Korban Shlomim, he has to pay you because it's yours. So basically, the whole Kachim Kalim is your personal money. So we're happy with the Vika, the Mishnah, that some Kachim could be Chayiv. Happy so far? Are we all happy?
Yes.
Happy, okay.
We're happy.
Vatanan.
We can be Tuesday.
Vatanan. The Gemara has a Mishnah that seems to say against Rabbi Yosef Lili. It wouldn't be a kasha. It's a Mishnah. That's not like Rabbi Yosef Lili is a Tana. It wouldn't be a problem. But the Gemara asks, Vatanan, I'm a Kaddish B'chelko, this we have in Kedushin, maybe Mekashi Kadashim, maybe Mekashim Kalam, any Mukadashas. Lema, the Lok Rabbi Yosef Lili. The Mishnah says that if someone gave Kedushin to a woman, he gave her a Korban Ola, he gave her a Korban Shlomim, it's not a good Kedushin. According to Rabbi Yosef Lili, he just finished saying that basically holds that Kachim Kalam is your money. So what's the problem? I gave a woman a Korban Shlomim. I had a Korban Shlomim. I sanctified, I consecrated a Korban, an animal to be a Korban Shlomim, but it's still my money, and I gave it to the woman that she should bring the Korban. And it says not good Kedushin. According to Rabbi Lili, it should be Kedushin. Are you going to say the Mishnah is against Rabbi Lili? Which wouldn't be a problem, okay, but he's a Tana. But is the Mishnah not fit with Rabbi Lili? The Gemara says.
First thing, you could break it up and say it's kasha, and then we get out of kasha by saying it's just say it's not really your sibling. You have the same thing. What? I would put it.
I don't think that it's
not like that.
It's one big sentence. The Mishnah that says that it's not good Kedushin is it against is it not Rabbi Lili? Does it not fit with Rabbi Lili? The word lema means what do we say? So the answer is I feel the time Rabbi Lili. You could say the Mishnah over there does fit with Rabbi Lili. It's not against him because Kiyam Rabbi Lili Mechayim. Avalach Hashchita I feel Rabbi Lili Moda Tichi Kazachu Mishlochim Gavor Kazachu, which was what Levi Yaakov said, and Chaim David started saying that it comes to a time that sometimes it's not going to be yours forever because once you shecht it, so then it's not yours anymore. And once you shecht it, it's yours. Once you shecht this animal,
this mission is talking about meat,
right? Like it says mechelko. Mechelko means that you don't call the animal chelko. It means his part. So if someone gave the woman his chelik, which will mean by korban shlomim after you shecht it, so then they murim the fats. Certain fats go on the mizbeach. And then there's the part that goes to the Kohen, part that goes to the Yisrael gets the Basar, the Kohen gets the Chazav B'Shov. So if
he gave her steaks.
What?
He gave her steaks.
Yeah, instead of a meat, he gives her steaks on the
Kachi.
So it tells you that's kosher. So over there, even if basically holds that it's not yours anymore. Even though you're allowed to eat it. You're allowed to eat it. But you're allowed to eat it. But it's not your money anymore. And the Gemara calls that
There's no kachi.
Because when they're zocha, they're getting it from the Hashem's table. Means, I think the marshal will be when you invite somebody to your house, and he says, "Thank you very much," and he takes the plate and he puts it in his bag and he walks away. He says, "You gave it to me, right? You said that because you eat." So we tell him, "No, it's my food that you may eat." So it's not that I gave you a present. So I think the same thing when the Kohanim are eating the chelik that gives them of the korban, Hashem is inviting them to eat on his table, but that's not yours. So till the shita, then it's yours. That live animal that you made a korban shlomim, then it's yours. But once you shechted it, even though you're allowed to eat the meat, the Kohen gets this meat and the Baalim get that meat, it's not called that it's theirs. Once they shechted it, it's all Hashem's money. There seems to be a machlokes Rashi Taisus over here. If the chelik that the owner gets, the Baalim get also a chelik of the meat. They get the meat. The Kohen only gets chazav v'shok. Is that called? Maybe it is considered the owners.
When?
Even after you shechted it. Maybe we're talking about the Kohen for sure. After the Kohen, they get the chazav v'shok. When
the Kohen eat their portion, they eating They're allowed to eat what Hashem gave them.
Here the Gemara says that everybody, even if basically that holds that it's your money before it's shechted. After it's shechted, he holds that it's only eating off of Hashem's table. And the question is, the Kohanim.
Especially because Hashem commanded.
The Kohanim. The question is, the owner gets the meat. The owner of the animal, of the shlamim. The Kohanim get for certain parts. The chazar b'shul.
Did he kazach or was meant talking about the volume also?
That's the question. So Rashi says like you, that it's talking about the Kohen, it's talking about the owner. They're all then saying that everybody's eating Hashem's, and therefore it's not his anymore. Not his anymore.
Why wouldn't she be married?
Maybe it's only talking about the Kohen. I'm a Kaddish
Maybe
B'chelko. Maybe it's not talking about the Kohen who gave his piece of meat.
Okay.
So then it's not good. Okay, so that's when the Gemara says that Rabbi Yosef Levi agrees that it's not yours. You also mean the Chelik Adabayim also. But just to keep it simple, the Gemara brought in it basically holds that Kashrim Kalam belongs to you, and therefore it's high in damages, and also the Gemara is going to say now that it's good. And also, if you give the live animal, you also will say that's good condition because that's your animal. According to one of the argument, I would say it's not yours. But even basically he holds it. Once you've shechted it, of course the part that goes on the mizbeach is surely not yours. Even the part that you're allowed to eat, maybe it's also not yours. It's only that you're allowed to eat it, but it's a Hashem's
woman get? If she's giving a live animal, what is she getting?
The carbon.
What?
She could be a carbon shlomim. It's worth a lot of money.
Now it's going to be her. He just said it's a shlomim.
And now it's going to be, she's going to be the her carbon shlomim.
Her stews.
She wanted to bring a carbon shlomim also. It costs a lot of money to bring a carbon shlomim. You have to buy an animal that costs the same amount as any kind of chulin animal, and they're going to use it for carbon. So now she has the ability to bring a carbon shlomim. So it's worth a lot of money to her. It's worth at least as much money as it will be in the shuk because that's how much you have to buy it for.
Okay.
So happy.
It's worth more than a cheap drink, that's for sure. Yeah, so she said.
So happy that the Mishnah, as much by basically holds that the Kashim Kal would be chayv if it's mazay korpus nizik. The Gemara has a question that it seems that somebody didn't agree with this, but we just said that basically holds that Kashim Kalam is moment bailam. It seems someone didn't hold like that. Does he hold that while it's alive? That basically did say that it's your money, but not. There's a Mishnah that says that a Bechor, a firstborn, what do you do with a firstborn animal, a male? You're supposed to give it to the Kohen. When you have in your flock is born a new, the firstborn male, says you're supposed to give it to the Kohen brings it for him. And the Kohen immediately eat it.
Okay.
And of course,
What do they do today?
so they want to avoid that if it's a Bechor, if it's born a Bechor, so then it's a korban.
So
And you have to let it
die, great.
yeah, you just graze until it. And there was when I was in Mir Shiva in America, there was Feldman, and he said that in Pinsk or in Minsk, I forgot, there was the altar buck from Pinsk, that there was an old goat that was walking around because it was a Bechor. It was a Bechor, and they were waiting to get a mum. I didn't get a mum, and I had a long beard, and I was walking around after the Pinsk. So that's what happens if you don't do anything, you don't prepare. But what they do is that they usually they make a shutfus with a goy, and then when it's born, it's not going to be a Bechor. Did you do anything else? That's standard, I think. What?
The Bechor, they could really just make a shutz with the Kohen.
They don't have to go to a guy.
But I think that they do it also because of Meisim.
But it shouldn't be chayv in Ma'aseh Behema.
Yeah,
That's what they do with Matan.
Well, that's what they do. This I didn't know about. That do that in order to give the Zruah B'chaim B'kev all of the slaughterhouse, they should have to give to the Kohanim Chashuvah pieces. So Levi Yaakov said that they also make the shittas with the Kohen. That they give the shittas with the Kohen, that they shouldn't be chayiv to give myself to give Zruah B'chaim B'kev. I didn't know.
No, he said that the guy doesn't get anything because they're shit with the goy.
Okay, once I asked the slaughterhouse, they said differently. That different. They said, but okay, if that's true, that it's, they said that the maker has come would give him $10 for all of the years. You want to sell it back to us, which sounds like very big harama. This would be to sell if it has shitfus with a goy. Okay, I'm not.
No, but also then if there's a goy, then maybe I can Shabbos or no? It's not around the Shabbos. I don't know. I didn't understand what things you're saying about Shit was,
The Kohen, a Kohen's not chayiv in Bechor. If a Kohen has an
It's
animal,
not higher, so he owns part of it.
He also is not chayiv. I think the conscious organizations, they go around even to the Chiloni farm, they're raising animals and they ask them to make a shitfus. The ear should belong to a guy, he doesn't care. And or else the market will be flooded with Bechor.
Yeah, well, oh, you mean also the meat and the milk? Oh, no, milk.
Yes, all it's going to be is to be Bechor. There'll be Bechor meat that's going around in the shuk, so they don't mind.
It takes care of the.
They shouldn't be
shell
Bechor.
on the malls.
What?
Takes care of the shit of the matzonos. Going.
Okay, I'm listening to what you said, but I don't know. So that what do we have so far? We're happy at this point. And there was a kasha that somebody said not like we just said. Does kachim kalam belong to the owner according to basic lili when it's allowed? It says bechor mochanos tam chaya. Before someone a kohen got a bechor. A kohen, someone gave him kohen. Here's a bechor. Was born to me a bechor, and it doesn't have a blemish. It's a matana. I'm doing what Hashem told me to give to you. And now the kohen wants to sell it. He's supposed to bring it for a korban. He wants to sell it to somebody else. You bring it for a korban and give me the money. Is it worth it for you?
It's a korban.
Well, it's supposed to be a korban.
He's selling it.
And he's selling it. He wants to sell it. So he says, "Before you may sell it. A tam means it's unblemished. It's supposed to be a korban. It's alive. It's supposed to be a korban.
Oh, in other words, still food for korban.
Still fit to a korban, and he sells it. And the one who got it, he's a kohen, and he didn't get it.
Yeah.
So he would like to have a korban that he could eat. And he's going to eat it afterwards. But so the one who got it is allowed to sell it. Somebody else, he can sell it. Of course, the Kohen, the one who got it, the Israel who was born and he's not allowed to sell it. He has to give it to the Kohen. But the Kohen who got it,
can sell
may sell it to another
sells it
Kohen.
Kohen.
It's worth money.
Yeah.
Is that's called that you're allowed to sell it means and you get money for it. That sounds a little bit like a basic leader that you're the owner, that you could use it as money. If it's a balmum, and the halacha about it, what do you do with a bechor balmum? You're allowed to eat it. You eat it as chulin. You don't bring it as a korban. You shecht it and you eat it as a.
They're talking about he can sell it. If it has a balmum, he sells it, and that person can stay.
Even if it's shechted already, a tam shechted. If you have an unblemished animal that was shechted, so then they shechted a korban without not as a korban, so you're not allowed to eat it. But if it was a balmum, so then you are allowed to shecht it. So you'd be able to sell the meat also. Either balmum you can sell if it's alive, and the buyer is going to shecht it, or you can sell it even shochet already. You kill the steaks, you can give him the meat of the balmum. Okay, so what is it saying so far? That your Kohen is allowed to sell the bechor that he got. And you can give it, the Kohen can give it to a woman as money. This is worth money, and therefore the bechor is there. So what would we say if we stop right here? This fits very nice with Rabbi Yosef Levu. According to Rabbanan, it's money, it's your money. You're allowed to sell it to a Mekadosh woman. And Rabbanan will say no. Rabbanan will say that you cannot because it's not your money. Even though it's Kachim Kalim, Rabbanan say it's not your money. So you're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to use it to Mekadosh woman. So we'd be happy. Because we just finished saying that Rabbi Yosef clearly holds that about Kachim Kalim and Bava Kamma.
So why does it say Miyamot?
And you can buy a woman.
Bava Kamma.
That's what Rabbi Yosef clearly is saying.
And you
Yeah.
You'd be happy to say that the whole kasha is we didn't finish the kasha yet.
Right.
It's because we're middle. So far we happy. On the contrary, the kasha is going to be why was Rav Nachman not happy? All this was the words of Rav Nachman in the name of Rabbi Baruch that this mission is only talking about Bisman Hazeh. There's no Beis Hamikdash. That since it's not fit to put on the mizbeach to be marked with it. So then Hashem's then you have money, then it's considered yours. Means even there Rabbanan who say that kachim kalim is not yours, that's only because it's supposed to be brought as a korban. But if it's basman hazeh that you cannot bring it as a korban, so then they also agree that it's your money. But yes.
Sorry, before is kachim kalim.
Yes.
Okay.
Habachor v'ma'aser v'pesach kachim kalim. Those say korbanos before v'ma'aser v'pesach kachim kalim. So. That is fit for akrava, then it's not your money. Now, Levi Yaakov said, that what's the problem? This Mishnah is a basic living. And here, if Nachman Amar Abba Bavua wasn't happy with that. He didn't say it's Beis Lili. He said it's talking about Bisman Hazeh. It's not Beis Hamikdash. That's why it's your money. So that's the Gemara's kasha. Again, the Gemara starts from Umechayim Miyama. Does the Beis Lili hold that when it's still alive, it's your money? If so, why did Rabbi Baruch have to say that it's talking about Bisman Hazeh? He could have even said that it's talking about the Beis Hamikdash according to Beis Lili. So the next couple of lines, there's a. If it's okay, if we just don't read it until there's a question in the Gersa, and it's a bit confusing, and where we see that the Gemara says that it is a dochak the Gersa. He says the Gonim had that Gersa, so if it's okay to make it easier to skip till the top line over here.
Okay, so
I don't know if they do this on the Daf Yomi. I don't know what they do, and just take out the 6 lines, and we continue Talmud Aleph. The kasha was, how come when Nachman who had to say that the Mishnah is talking about his man hazeh? Why doesn't he say that's a basic living? Very simple. So the Gemara answers, Manas Kuna Ka'amrit. Shani Manas Kuna, the Chikazachu, Mishlochim Gavah Kazachu. Manas Kuna is different. It means we talked about a Shlomim, other kinds of coach, Kachim Kalam, Toda, but he talked about a Bechor. A Bechor was given to the Kohen. So even if basic really says that Kachim Kalam is the money of the owner, that's only if it wasn't something which was given to him as a present. But when the Torah says that you should give the Kohen the Bechor, that's not the same thing as we said before about eating at the king's table. That Hashem is saying, give it as a present, means give it to him to eat it. But it was never his money. You could have said that Hashem gave it to him as a full present. But he's saying, no, there's a difference. Rav Nachman understood that even according to Beis Galili, that Kashim Kalam is your money, it's only if it was your money. Like you had an animal, it was chulin, and you made it into a korban, so it remains your money. But when you're being given a bechor as a present, the present is that you should use it to eat only. It's the same thing as getting it after shkita, that you're just being invited to eat, so it's not your money. So therefore, when it said that before Tom, you're allowed to sell it and give it as a tradition. The difficulty was that it's a bechor, and even Yosef Lili also that a bechor is not your money. So therefore, he says, "Talk about Bishman Hazeh."
What is his matanos here? He's talking also about Bechor.
Yes, that's what he's talking about. Manas Kahuna. Bechor is an example of Manas Kahuna. You are saying Matanas is referring to Zerah L'chaim B'Kei, but we're talking about Manas Kahuna means the Bechor is given as a Matana.
It's given as a matana, then he was given something of Hashem's,
Just to eat.
just to eat, not do anything.
So therefore, he was
But
bought it,
it's his, and
and he was makdish it as a korban shlomim.
he can sell it. If he gets, this is an argument, that he can't sell it.
He can't sell it. We're saying that a Bechor you can't sell.
sell
Even according to Beis Lili, because it's not yours, it's just to eat. Hashem just gave it to you to eat.
What was the thing about that they sold it?
Over there said that he could sell it. That's
Yeah.
why Nachman Amar Babu had to say it's talking about Bishman Hazeh. You can't bring it as a
no,
korban, so then it is your money.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do? We had our sugya that had a diak that there's a case of hektish that you also chayiv in the zaken, and the Gemara found a Beis Lili that holds mechayim. It's your money. He also agrees once you shechted it, then it's only mishulchan and kavo on the meat. But as long as it's alive, it's still yours. Here we're saying that if Nachman Amar rules, that's only when it was yours animal and you makdish it, then it still remains your money. But if you were given a present like a bechor is given to you, so Hashem gave it to you only to eat, and even Rabbi Yossi holds that it's not your money. If that's good, we can continue. This is a parenthesis. We're going on a tangent to talk about the Beis Lili. We're going to continue still with our Gemara.
Excuse me, do we have, so in terms of Kachim, where are we holding?
Is Kachim Kadashim is not your money. Ola, Chatas, Asham, Mincha, all Kachim Kadashim is not your money. Kachim Kalam is machlokes if it's your money or not. According to Rabbanan, it's not your money.
Which one? Kachim?
Well, Kachim Kalam, Ashlamim,
It's a
Chor,
machlokes if
Shlam,
it's your
is
money.
machlokes of your money. According to Rabbanan, it's also not your money. I think it's how we pass it. And it basically says that it is your money.
That's only Zeh?
Oh, no. Bisman Hazeh, everybody we should have said that. That Bisman Hazeh, then Rabbanan will also hold that it's your money. Only Kachim Kalam? Yeah, that's what the one said, that Bisman Hazeh, what?
Discussion.
If someone was makdash by
Yes.
makdash, right?
Only before that is man as a once it gets a move, you won't
You have something to do with it.
You'll be able to
You have
later get a
something
move.
that has something to do with it. So a bechor. So a bechor, dafka bechor, that you have what to do with the bisman hazeh. Other kachim, you have nothing to do with it. If you get some, if it would be somehow someone made a shlamim, what? If you get some, you pulled it.
Yeah, the what that's Scottish. Like you never get
So that's not yours. It's only by bechor nowadays. There'll be a possibility that it should be your money. Again, Kashi Kadashim is not your money. Kashi Kalma Konti Rabbanan is not your money, except if it was manazeh, that it's does have you have ability how to eat it. If it gets a mum, so then it also be considered your money, and you can kaddish a woman with it because it's worth money. Wait till it gets a mum. How much is it worth to you to have this animal that if it gets a mum, you'll be able to eat? So it's worth much less than a regular animal, but it's still worth money. And even a basic lili holds that a bechor is not your money, because it was given to you as a present, and the present is only to eat, not to be your money.
Let us say, Kochim Kedoshim, everyone agrees it's not your money. Kochim Kalim, Kol Kochim Kalim, Shatzuk Shemar. Rabbanan holds that it's not your money. Vishak really holds it is your money. And before, everyone agrees, because it's not Miskona, that it's not your money, unless Bisman.
And also to stick in also someplace that the Gemara made a couple of lines to say that even the Kunta basically once you shechted it, so then also the meat is not the Kohen's, maybe it's not the owner's either, that is just invited to eat the meat, but it's not yours. Okay.
So Kohen can't do a condition with the bechor. Kind of
Right. What the Gemara comes out, right? That's what it says. Manas Kuna, even if basically he cannot do kedushin because it's not his money. It's only given to him to eat. So one anyway will hold that you can't do kedushin with any kind of kosher. But even a basically, I mean, it's manazeh. Then to add on that is manazeh. Maybe the Rabbanan also will hold that a bechor is your money because that's what you're supposed to do with it. You wait till it gets a moment, then you eat it. So they also might hold that it's considered money, and you could mekadosh a woman with bechor bisman hazeh.
So the reason it said in the Elah at the two dots was because there were a few exceptions with Kachi.
That there are some kachim that is yes chai. There's some kachim according to basic lili. There'll be a case where something damaged was mazik, animal, a carbon was mazik, and it is going to be chai. Or you are mazik a carbon and you are chai because it has personal money. According to basic lili. This really is not a good two dots over here, because the Gemara didn't finish. And later on, it's going to say another terrace to this kasha that we worked on, that the Mishnah says something about Meila. We'll get to that soon. This, if we may, is a parentheses, which is interesting about basic lili. And we're going to continue later on. Where's that going to be? Till here. All that. And then Rav is going to be terrace number 2. We can put him already highlighted. Bava Kamma. This is Bava Kamma. In contrast to Yochanan, who was a long time ago in the beginning of the day. This is going to be Bava Kamma.
And the other parentheses when built into that.
Right, the other parentheses we crossed out. The first parentheses, the 6 lines over there we crossed out.
Okay.
We didn't just put in parentheses. This is now a side sugya, which is very interesting to talk about the basic leader. Kufa. This is what we said before. In the beginning, we introduced the basic leader. That's the pasuk that talks about the Shvus HaPikadon, and it says the basic leader. The rabbis kachim kalim shem amon the basic leader. Same quote as before. A basic leader holds that there's some kind of kachim that's considered yours. Kachim kalim is your money. Ben Azai, Omer. Let's try to. I think it'll help to highlight this at this point. Ben Azai Omer. The rabbi says Shlamim. Before they're coming to explain Rabbi Yosef Galilin, and it's also going to be, if we may, I don't know which color to use. Okay, pink. I don't mean anything. The fact that it's pink. Sometimes it means a kasha with a terrace. Let me do that. Okay. So, Ben Azai said, Kachim Kalam. Now, Ben Azai and Rabbi Yossi Ben the story seem to be explaining Ben Azai.
Yeah, basically.
Who's explaining? Right. Yeah, I see how Ben Yossi is also explaining Ben Azai. Means question what Ben Azai said. Ben Azai is the explaining Rabbi Yossi, and Ben Yossi says a different version than Ben Azai. Okay, but the machlokes what they basically meant. Shlomim is kachim kalim, Bechor is kachim kalim. In general, it basically said a very, very general statement. Maybe he also deserves to be in the color. That's he was the main point over here. Kachim kalim, Shem Amono, Dubra basically. And then we're explaining him. Benazai is explaining, obviously, is a different version of Benazai explaining him. So basically, he seems to say that Kachim Kalam is your own money, personal money. Benazai says Shlomim is your money. Shlomim is a kind of Kachim Kalam. But yesterday, the story says only Bechor is your money. Bechor is also kind of a Kachim Kalam. So what is everybody talking about? Kachim Kalam, Shlomim, Bechor, they're all Kachim Kalam. That's the end of the Brisa. Amamar. Now we're going to analyze it. Benazai Omer, the Rabbi says Shlomim. What did he mean to say? He obviously meant to say something. Shlomim, but not something else. That's not all Shlomim. Did he mean to say that Bechor?
Not all Kachim Kalim.
Right, not all Kachim Kalim. Even originally he said in general Kachim Kalim, but Benazai says not all Kachim Kalim.
Yeah.
Only some Kachim Kalim, Shlomim, but not all Kachim Kalim. What do you mean to say? He meant only Shlomim and not Bechor. Bechor is not Kachim Kalim. It's not Mammon Bailam. It's not your money. That doesn't make sense because Shlomim, the Gemara thinks is more holy than Bechor. Because Mashlamim Shatunin Esmicha, Nesachim, Tnukus Chazav V'Shok, Ambit Mammon Bailamu, Bechor Mibaya. Shlomim has to have some halachas that Bechor doesn't have. The owner is supposed to do smicha on the head of the Shlomim, but Bechor you don't do that. Also, a Shlomim is supposed to be in the Sachim, libations together with the Shlomim, and by the Bechor you don't. And by Bechor Shlomim, he's supposed to be Tnukus Chazav V'Shok, the Kohen, and the Bailam are supposed to wave the parts of the Mita that go to the Kohen. So those three things that a Shlomim has, a Bechor doesn't have. And if even a Shlomim that has all of these rituals, I'm not sure if that's the right word, that still is considered your money. So Bechor that doesn't have all that is even less Kodesh than a Shlomim. Surely it's considered your money. So when he said Shlomim is Mammon Bailam, he couldn't have meant to say that a Bechor is not. If a Shlomim is Mammon Bailam, your own personal money, then surely a Bechor. So what did Benazai mean to exclude by saying Shlomim? El Amar Rav Yochanan Lemute Ma'aser. Rav Yochanan explains that Benazai meant to say Ma'aser Behem or not. That Ma'aser Behem is also Kachim Kalam. Ma'aser Behem means that you take your flock, all the new animals that were born, and you let them go through in the corral, and you make a small opening, one at a time. The 10th one, you strike it with red paint, and then you bring it as a korban Ma'aser Behem. Also, it's Kachim Kalam. Is that also Mammon Bailam? So that's what Benazai meant to say. That only a Shlomim and down, Shlomim, Bechor, that's going to be Mammon Bailam. But Ma'aser Behema is more holy, and it's not going to be Mammon Bailam. Why not? Why is Ma'aser Behema different? Tanya. The Bechor Nema Lo Sifdeh. By Bechor it says that you should not redeem it. What do? You wait till it gets a mum. You're allowed to sell it. Because it doesn't say don't sell it. It does says don't redeem it to get off the Kedusha, I'm not sure. But when Ma'aser Nema Lo Yigoel,
It goes to the Kohen, right?
it goes to the Kohen.
And so when it says sell, it means a Kohen can sell it to another Kohen. What does an import mean?
Yes.
A Kohen could sell it when he gets it.
And the point is because it doesn't say don't sell it. But by Ma'aser Behema, it says also don't sell it. Let's get the psukim over here.
We're talking about rice.
We're bringing the subject then about Ma'aser. Ach Bechor Shor, or Bechor Kesef, or Bechor Beis, Lo Sivdeh, Kodeshem, as the Mom Tizrok al Mizbech, Ves Chabom Taktir, Yishev, Levrech, Kefar Hashem. A Bechor, don't redeem it. They're holy, and bring it as a korban.
You can't redeem it, then it should become not Kodesh. Other animals you could redeem, then the money becomes Kodesh, and the animals you
I see.
You never can redeem the Kedusha.
For a Ma'aser, you can't redeem the.
And that's not the point of the Gemara. The Gemara
The Gemara is saying that the Ma'aser, but you could sell it, and
it says Lo Sifta, you may sell. It doesn't mean because it says Lo Sifta.
even though it says Lo Sifta, or maybe it's less.
And there's a difference in the words Lo Yigol and Lo Sifta, I'm not sure. But by this pasuk, next pasuk is by Ma'aser Behema. It's the end of Sefer Vayikra. Lo Yivakev Ben Tov Levav Lo Yimirenu. Don't check if it's a good one, a bad one, whatever the 10th one comes out. That's the Ma'aser Behema, and don't switch it. Imameri Mirenu, talking about Ma'aseh Behema, I think. But he was more so Kodesh. Then the halach is that even the Tmura, if you said that the other one should be instead, both of them become Kodesh. Lo Yigoel, you may not redeem it. But here the Gemara is saying that Lo Yigoel also includes that you're not allowed to sell it. So I don't see the psukim so much, but the point is to say that the other kachim you are allowed to sell, but by Ma'aseh Behema you're not allowed to sell. I think that's the main point. Even though it's going to stay Kodesh, you're not allowed to sell it. Okay. What's that?
Rashi brings it, we learn from Charomim that it says Lo Yigol and over there.
That's how you know you're allowed to
So
sell.
Lo Yigol by Maisim means also not that.
What do you say, Chaim?
But said Bava Kamma. But if you did, then it remains Kodesh.
It says, well, Miranda, it's called.
It was assumed for him.
You're not allowed to do it, then if you did it,
But if
still,
he did it,
it's
it
still
doesn't lose its
doesn't lose it. And the point, Lo Yigoel, and there's going to be a drasha for me that'll learn out that you're not allowed to sell it. Without all this more, you're not allowed to sell.
bring a
For what?
Because he sold.
It says you're not allowed to sell it. You're not allowed to sell. That's what the Gemara says. You're not allowed to sell it, period. Alive or dead. You're not allowed to sell Ma'aseh Behema. The main thing, the point, what does the Gemara say? I think the main thing you have to take out of it is Ma'aseh Behema you're not allowed to sell, and therefore, even though Rabbi Yosef Lili says that Kachim Kalam is your money, but not Ma'aseh Behema, Ma'aseh Behema is not. That's what Ben Azai meant to say. Even though Rabbi Yosef Lili says Kachim Kalam is your money, but only Shlomim, and of course things less than Shlomim, Bechor, but Ma'aseh Behema, he also agrees that you're not allowed to sell it, and therefore it's not yours. Make sense so far? Okay, that's one version. And just to go now, if we take that and stop there, so Ben Azai said Shlomim and even Bechor and surely Bechor. That's good so far. That
moment violent.
That basically said that Kashim Kalam is your money. Ben Azai said Shlomim, not Ma'aseh Behema. Ma'aseh Behema is too holy that you're not allowed to sell. It's not your money. And surely Bechor. And then we continue. Avi Yosef ben Stoy Omer, Lama Ben Azai Ela Bechor B'vad. Only Bechor. What does he mean to say? Not even Shlomim. This is the main point that the Gemara wants to get to. That there's machlokes between Ben Azai and Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy, and not machlokes. He says in Ben Azai, Lama Ben Azai. Two versions in Ben Azai. If a Bechor only means a Bechor is the least holy. This Gemara holds, like we said a second ago, that the fact that it has to have smicha, trufas chazav v'shok. What else was there? Forgot. Smicha and nesachim, trufas chazav v'shok. So a shlomim is more holy than a bechor. So Ben Azai says that a shlomim is mammon bailam and surely a bechor. Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy says only bechor, but a shlomim not. That was the machlokas over here, according to this version. Now we're going to start another version. Ravina must not say. For Ravina has the above discussion. And the Sefer on Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy, Omer, Lo Omer ben Azai Ela Bechor B'vad. And what did he mean to say? He goes on the last one. He says this version is going to hold the opposite of what we just said. We said a second ago that Shlomim is more holy than a Bechor. This version is going to hold that a Bechor is more holy than a Shlomim. So when the Gemara starts off with Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy, how can you say only a Bechor and not Shlomim? A Bechor is more holy than Shlomim. It's a little bit confusing because it's the opposite of what we just said before. He holds that a Bechor is more holy and a Shlomim is less. And if you say that a Bechor is Mammon Bailam, then surely a Shlomim. So what did Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy mean? He meant a Bechor and a Shlomim. And what did he mean to say not? Also, Maisa, he meant that when you had Kashim Kalam, it basically said Mammon, Kashim Kalam was Mammon Bailam. Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy says only a Bechor and less. A Bechor and Shlomim, which is less. But Ma'aseh Behema not. In both versions, they're coming to say Ma'aseh Behema not. But the question, the machlokes was, in these two versions is going to be, which one is more holy, the Shlomim or the Bechor? According to one version, the first version, Shlomim was more holy, and therefore Ben Azai said Shlomim and surely Bechor, and Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy says only Bechor, to the least. And now according to this version, Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy is saying Bechor and surely Shlomim, because Shlomim is less than a Bechor, and this first version said Shlomim and not Bechor, because Bechor is holier than a Shlomim. Yep. Yeah, I said it right. Okay. It's a little bit confusing. I hope that we got it through. Ravina says on the Sefer that Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy says only Bechor, and the Gemara says, what does it mean to say? The Mutei Mai, even the Mutei Shlomim, that he says that a Shlomim is more holy. No, a Shlomim is less holy. The Gemara finds one aspect that a Bechor is more holy than Shlomim, the fact that it's Kodesh Mirechem, that as soon as it's born, comes out of the womb, it's already holy. A Shlomim, you have to have Imaktashet. Before the Gemara says as far as that the Shlomim is more than the Bechor, here the Gemara says as far as that the Bechor is more than the Shlomim. So according to this version, when Rabbi Yosef ben Stoy said Bechor, he meant that surely Shlomim is also Mammon Bailam. It's even less holy. Rabbi Yochanan Lamuti Maisa Kinetanya, same thing over again. That everyone meant the same thing. That Maisa Behem was more holy. The fact that you're not allowed to sell it. I don't know if it's more holy, but you can't sell it, so it's not considered your money. As we just said before, the same thing as over. Bechor Namalo Sifda, the Nem Katam Bal Chai, Tam Chai Bal Mum Chai B'Shachd. Over there, you are allowed to sell it. The Maisa Namalo Yigoel, over there, you're not allowed to sell it. Ein Nem Kalo Chai B'Lo Shachd, Lo Tam B'Lo Bal Mum. Period. So how does the second version learn that? Basically, he said in general, Kachim Kalam is your money. Obviously, Ben the story said the Chor and Sholi Shlamim, and Benazai had said in this version of Benazai, he said Dafka Shlamim, which is the least. The focus is, but Maisa is Sholi the most holy of these three choices, and then the question is which is more holy, Shlamim or Bechor? And one Tana says that both of them are all going to be Mammon Bailim, and one of them says only the bottom one, only whatever's on the bottom, either Bechor's on the bottom or Shlam was on the bottom.
We don't know which one is.
Machlokes two versions. Machlokes which one? On one hand, Shlam was more holy because it has these three things: the Sachim and Tluas Chazav V'Shok and Smicha. On the other hand, Bechor is Kodesh Merechem. The Gemara just stands off that to say the Benazai holds Bechor and also Shlamim, it doesn't fit into the words. These words Bechor B'Lvad, it doesn't sound like it means to say anything else. Only Bechor. That means that Bechor only.
So how could you say surely Shlomo?
Right. So that what means with a kasha over there. Bechor B'Lvad Kamma. How can you say it means only also Shlamim? Kasha. Leave that as a kasha. All this was extra credit to understand the Shita of Rabbi Yosef that holds that Kachim Kalam was Mamle Bailam. It came out that Ma'aseh Behem was surely not, because you're not allowed to sell it, so surely not considered your money. And then there's a question about one of these two, Shlamim and Bechor. Could be one of them he holds not. Somebody holds maybe. Somebody might hold, maybe not.
Oh, yeah, we're more mixed up. But even the top of the element, he said that Bechor, because it's not this kahuna, so for sure gonna hold that it's not Mammon.
Right, I forgot about
Does
that.
that stem with this?
Right, so that
Yeah,
doesn't
we just said that
right.
Bechor.
Bechor is Mammon Bailam, right. Right.
So
Right. I didn't
yeah.
cop that now. That this Gemara, this Bechor, no matter how you learn, wherever Bechor is going to be, but whoever holds that a
Someone
Bechor,
says that Bechor is. Maybe only even the first Ben Azai. The Shua B'Yosef in the sky says Bechor.
and the
Maybe
one top said
also
that,
Ben Azai says
right,
that.
right,
That's not going to stem with the top.
right. The top of the line said that Manas Kuna, since you got it as a person, so Bechor is not Mammon Bailam, so it doesn't fit. Right. Choshev point, and the Gemara doesn't make a deal out of it. Very interesting. And before was Rav Nachman, Rav Baruch. You have Tanam over here. Why is he starting out with the Tanam? Okay, nice point. And now just to go back to the beginning, we can make a condensed Gemara and skip everything in between and just go Rav Yochanan and Rava. Just to start again from the beginning of the day. And now we're going to do the shortened version. The Mishnah says, back to the top. The Chas M'Shem Ben Mila, the one made a deal because says Mila, mashma, it is hektish. It can be hektish and there is Nezakin. So Rav Yochanan said, Kachim Kalam Konte B'Yosef Galili. Nice teretz with all the details, but that's the simple teretz. That B'Yosef Galili holds that it is your money and therefore it's Chayv and Nezakin. Now we jump to the teretz number 2. That was Rav Yochanan, now goes Rava, and we skip everything in between. Bava Kamma, my Nechas M'Shem Ben Mila, Nechas M'Shem Ben Din Mila, my Niu, the Hediot. Don't take it so seriously that it said Mila, it means hektish. There's another way of saying Nechas M'Shem Ben Jen and hektish. Din Mila is another way of saying hektish. And what is Din Mila? That it's possible to have Mila sometimes. Don't get involved. It doesn't mean anything. It means hektish. I don't know how to read the words exactly. And Din Mila, which means that it doesn't apply Mila at all because Hediot. Another way of saying that the Chasim of Hediot, that's what's considered, that's what's Chayiv in the Zakin and hektish not. And it doesn't mean anything about, don't make this deal.
You had Mila some way for the Shkita, after the Shkita.
The way we originally thought of it,
Some kind of Mila.
the way we thought of it before today.
For today, right. And it doesn't say that. Listening to Hediot, let it say, why does it say Mila? It doesn't say Nechasim Shein Ben Mila. Say Nechasim Shein Shel Hediot. Kasha, good to Kasha. But Rava was happy with this shot better than saying the first shot. He didn't want to say it goes according to Beis Lili, it goes even according to Rabbanan, and everything's good. And that's the end of that Kasha with Teretz. But we did get introduced to Beis Lili, that is from the Bible. Rava also could agree will agree that the din is true. According to Beis Lili, will be high from the Zakin. What do you want to say that's found in the Mishnah? Okay, new Sivya. Till now we spoke about mostly if you were mazik, the Kachim Kalam. We could really both of them are true. If the Kachim Kalam, according to Beis Lili, Kachim Kalam that was mazik is chayiv. Well, mazik kachim kalam yechayiv because it's considered your personal money. Now the Gemara goes in to the kachim kalam that was mazik, not that it was a nizik, that it was mazik. Amri Abi Yabba. Shlamim sheziku gova mibesaran ve'ena gova memurei. The simple words, the translation, the shlamim that was mazik. I didn't mean all this. Okay, I did more than I wanted. Shlamim sheziku. But the basic limit that you have to pay. So the nizik only could collect from the meat of the korban shlomim, but not from the imurim which go on the mizbeach. A korban shlomim was mazik, and according to basic really it's chayv to pay. The owner is chayv to pay because it belongs to him. But the nizik only could collect from the meat, which you're allowed to eat. Of course, it's going to be bought as a korban still, and the meat goes to the owner. But now the nizik says it's my meat because you, owner of the korban shlamim, yechayiv, and I'm going to get the meat. But he can't collect the emurim because it goes on the mizbeach. So very innocent statement that of course you don't get the emurim because it goes on the mizbeach. That's pashut. But the Gemara says it's two pashut. Pshita emurim legavosaki. Of course it doesn't. You can't get the emurim. Of course it goes to Hashem. It goes up to Hashem. So that's pashut. You wouldn't have to. It wouldn't have meant that. So it means something else. Well, tzricha legova or ligvos mibesaron keneged emurim. So let's get a little introduction, and then I think the Gemara will be. It's pashut even according to basic lili that animal is yours. You're the owner, but you're only the owner of the meat. But you're not the owner of the emurim. Even right now that it was mazik, you have an animal, a live animal, and he's had a reza shlomim, and he's considered the owner of the meat. But he's not going to be considered the owner of the emurim. All the kishkas inside, the ones that are going to go eventually on the mizbeach, the fats. So that doesn't belong to him. That's Hashem's.
Here means don't count. Let's say it's.
I'm still in the introduction. Let's get the introduction. Let's get zooming out a second. So when the animal was mazik, really it was a shutfus that was mazik. It was a partnership because part was his animal, part was Hashem's animal. So now when he comes, so he's mazik, he has to pay. But he says, I had an accomplice. And it's nice to say like that. I had some, Hashem, the part of that belongs to Hashem was also mazik. I don't have to pay for the whole damage because there's somebody, a big S, capital S, that was also part of the mazik, and he doesn't have to pay because the hektish pater was mazik. So I'll pay for my percentage, how much I was mazik. So this goes into the subject called if shutfin were mazik. If two people were mazik, how do you divide the payments?
Say loach. This goes into the topic of
Shutfin that were mazik.
Shutfin.
Partners that were mazik.
Okay.
And the Gemara brings a case. It's not going to say the case openly, but it's going to be understood that a shore pushed another shore into a bore. So the shore wasn't mazik alone. He didn't gore him. He didn't. He just pushed him into the bore, and the bore wasn't mazik alone because someone pushed him into the bore. So there's a shore and a bore that were accomplices in damaging the shore. Who do you collect from? Let's say one of them has a p'tor. If one of them has some kind of a p'tor, could you collect from the other shuttif and say you were mazik? If your shuttif is available to chip in, so fine. If not, then I want to collect the whole thing from you. Which the Gemara calls someplace else. Is it called when shuttif and mazik? Is it called each one was mazik half, or is it called each one was mazik whole? In all kind of contracts, they say that everyone individually and this, you make a couple of aravim. Each one has the whole. That's the question. When shuttif or mazik, is it called that each one was mazik half, and you can't demand from either one only half? If the other one has some kind of p'tor, or he's not when skip town or something like that. So that's his. I'm only half because I was half an accomplice. Or do you look at the shutfin that were mazik? That both of them are mazik the whole thing. That's the sugya the Gemara is going to go into. The Gemara thinks that that's going to be the subject over here. That Hashem, the helik of hektish is pater, and one who's going to be chayyim, does he have to pay for the part that's pater? So the Gemara, the gvos besorim keneged emurim, to collect from the meat corresponding, well, that's the wrong word, to the emurim, means the emurim are not going to pay. The emurim are not going to pay. Does the basar have to pay for what the emurim did? Of course you don't get the emurim. That's question. Like the Gemara said, they won't go on the mizbeach. That's no question.
They have no value.
They have value. And here the question is not even value. Here the question is if they were part of the damaging. If he didn't have the murim, he couldn't have the kishkis inside of him, he wouldn't be working.
Mhm.
He wouldn't be able to go, he wouldn't be able to do anything. So the mazik, this mazik that was mazik, part of it, they murim were mazik also. They murim were mazik, part of the, so can the nizik come to the owner of the meat and say that you pay for the whole damage? Or could the owner of the meat say, I'll pay for my percentage and hektish is butter? Why should I pay for hektish? I don't know how you cheshbon the murim and the rest of the meat. I don't know. Does it go by weight? I don't know. So that's what the Gemara thinks the machlokes is. When Rabbi said that you collect from the meat, you don't collect from the murim. It doesn't mean to say you don't collect from the murim. It means to say you don't collect from the meat what the murim would have done, what the murim did.
So if you're connected, my question is, connected means subtract the emurim. Is that what connected means? Yeah. Legova
To collect from the
meat.
meat that which the murim would have had to have paid. If they would have been chayav to pay. What?
So you include it. It means the whole end.
May you or not? May you collect?
it's a
May you
question.
collect? The issue is, may you collect from the meat what the emurim would be chayiv, and Abba said you may not. Go You don't collect.
Uh-huh.
Of course, you don't collect from the emurim itself. That goes on the mizbech, but you don't collect
In
from
other
the
words,
meat.
if the
What
emurim are
10% of
30%, whatever, 30%
of the damager of
Yeah.
and
so
then
you would only pay 70%.
right. And you
And-
say
And that's what the yellow is.
that's what the Baba meant to say.
Uh-huh.
That you don't pay for your accomplice.
And then lo tzricha, because the question is, can you deduct it or not?
Right. The question, the more for the words alone say you can't get from the murim. There's no question you don't get the murim. You surely don't get the murim. But the point is, you collect from the meat that which the murim did. And then the Gemara goes into this machlokas, which is a machlokas. In general, if shutfin were mazik, thank you very much. If shutfin were mazik, if you could collect from either one the whole thing. And then why is the question? There's a machlokas about that. Leave the man. According to who does he mean to say? There's a machlokas Rav Nasan and Rabbanan. Ilibad Rabbanan, Rabbanan and Rav Nasan. We'll come and see a second Rav Nasan. Shita ha'armi kelakala shloma mehai, lo mishlama mehai. The Rabbanan say that when two shutfin mazik, let's say the shore, they push the shore into a bore. So he says that if one of them does not have to pay, you don't collect from the other accomplice. If you don't have money to pay from one, you don't get paid from the other one. So here they surely would say that hektish is butter, so the hedya doesn't have to pay up for the hektish's part. And even the Rabbi Nosson, according to Rabbi Nosson, who says that you do, one has to pay for the whole thing. So then he should have to pay. He says if one of them doesn't have enough to pay, or he has a Torah to pay, you do get paid up from the other one. So that's what the Gemara is asking. You told me this machlokas, and either it's trita or it's not true. That's the Gemara's question.
Rabbanan.
And Rav Nosson. Right. They argue about the shore that puts the shore into a bore. Ibo is saying Rav Nosson, Ibo is saying Rabbanan.
The regular one is over here. Talking about two different mazikim. What would be some shutfim? Two people on animal. They were mazik.
Right.
One gadol and one katan. I don't know. Isn't that like a?
Not shut from one animal, but
Why would I mean,
The- the-
one animal?
that the Gemara might be coming up that if it's one group, maybe it's different.
Oh, the Gemara starts first from
Not-
something which is less similar. Well, what would be the exact similarity?
That,
From
yeah,
the name
that
of
right.
Kosher
That two
and
should be in one
Kosher.
animal. They have here. You have here the Hashem, they Murim and Hashem and the person have a shutfus in this animal. Part of it is hektish, part of it is
That would be
Hedya.
like exactly.
That would be the exact case. And the Gemara doesn't,
starts further in order to get
because that's where you
back.
find Rav Nosson over there.
There's
Talking-
no Gemara.
I think talking about such a case of a shore and talking about
How do you know the case was a short one?
only Rashi. Rashi tells me
Only
over here.
It's not a case of kachim and
No, right. Here it says,
a kachim damaging animals.
where is this case? Here it is.
Gimel.
Shore, Nim Gimel. Shore shadachaf es chavero lebor. A shore which pushed his fellow shore into a bore.
Okay, 53. We'll get there soon.
Soon. Excellent. Everything's relative. Okay, so the one thinks that this should be telling the machlokes. If shore was mazik, which is shore hektish, part of it is hektish, part of it is bom and bailim, the more thought should be telling this machlokes. And the Gemara is going to say, I could say, according to everybody, that here there's
It's different than
it's different than a regular shutfus. This
Well,
case
it's
of
different
the
than regular.
kachim,
What here in kachim is different than a regular.
right? Or we'll see. Iboy same Rabbanan. What Rabbanan say that each one is only damages half, and you can't collect from the one party the whole damage. And the one said over here that it's pshita, that over here also you cannot collect. He said Hanimil betray goofy. That's only when it's two goofy. It means the shore and the bore are two separate goofy, and then each one only did half a damage. But if it's one body, yeah, it's one shore that has two shutfim, which will be also relevant to not hektish. You have two shutfim in a shore, and the shore damaged, and for some reason one of them has a ptor. So then the nizik says the shore damaged me. I don't know percentages. I get my whole payment from this shore, and it's different than two goofing when two separate entities. One is a shore, one is a bore. I think also two shvarim because two oxen that damaged one together. So then over there, Rabbanan say each one did half the damage, and you can't collect from one the whole damage. But if it's one body, one unit that should from in that, so then they also agree.
It was your
Right, and therefore you should pay the whole thing.
even though there's shit was built into it.
But the Gemara I think the Gemara, we have to remember the Gemara. I just realize now that the Gemara's kasha was if it's Rabbanan Pshita. All the Gemara is explaining why. He's not saying that it's not true. He's just saying that it's not Pshita. Baba that said that you don't collect the whole damage from the part of the head yod. We're saying it goes according to Rabbanan, but it's not so Pshita. It's just explaining why it's a chiddush.
Because there were two animals. Because
Like two animals will be pashut, but by one animal it's not pashut. But even if it's not pashut, but the Ma'aser, the truth is, I think the Gemara is coming out to say that the truth is that you'll still hold, even though it's only a reason to say that it's a chiddush. The Gemara's kasha, the Gemara is not saying that he's wrong. The Gemara is just saying that the kasha was irabbanan pshita. So yes, it's not pshita. And after it's over, that's maybe why I didn't write it down, because it's only a chiddush. It's only a chiddush, but
even if it's kachim, you have to pay the whole.
And no difference. You might have thought that you'd have to pay.
And it would go like the rabbis that you don't have to pay the whole thing. It's not true.
You might have thought that the rabbis would say, "Here, you don't have to pay for it. You do have to pay for it." You might have thought you do have to pay for it because it's one unit. Kamashman, the Rabbanan also agree, even though it's one unit, you don't pay for it. It means Rabbanan Maskana, they
agree that even with kachim that when it's kachim, you don't pay.
You don't pay, but that's what they always hold. They always hold that you only pay for your half. You don't pay for the other half. You might have thought the question was that is,
No, I see Rashi points
out that it's only as a, you would have thought so. But the Maisa is not true. The Maisa, even though it's one unit, also each one only did half. And I guess the regular case of two shufim in a regular shore, not tafka hektish, two shufim in a shore. There's Maisa. Rabbanan will say each one only damaged half, and you can't collect your other half from one party. Even by saying Rav Nosson, you can say that this is according to Rav Nosson, it's different. Usually Rav Nosson says that you could collect the whole thing from the bore, but here you can. Anod to roy bevira chashkafte. My lastly the shlomim mihaf mishtalim leminach. Over there, the case of the shore pushed the shore into a bore. Here's where you see the Gemara is talking about that case. Till now we didn't have a hint, but the case is here the bala shore. The bala shore means the nizik, the one that fell in, the dead one that's inside the bore. He says to the bala bore, I found my dead shore or my damaged shore in your bore. But I can't get paid from the shore that pushed it in, I'm going to get from you. That means that's something special about a shore and a bore. What's special about it? I think the Mefarshim Tosfos explains that the bore did the damage, even though the shore pushed it, but that wasn't the damage. The damage was that the bore, that's what gave it the club. It got damaged from the Gemar Hezek was from the bore. So therefore, Nosson says that the bore has to pay. The bore is the main damager because that's where he got the bang. So over there, Nosson says that if the shore can't pay for it for whatever reason, so then the bore has to pay for it. But otherwise, he also agrees that each one only did half the damage. Aval, the words are good. I translated the words. The Balashah tells the bore, my shore I found in your bore, but I can't get from the other one, I'm going to get from you. Aval, Amad Beis. Hacham Yimatzi Amar, Basa Razik, and more low Razik. Over here, can the Nizik say that only the meat that the meat damaged? The main point is to say the more didn't damage. Could the Nizik say that the more didn't damage and the dump also did everything? No, each one did part. So therefore, the mazik only has to pay what he did. He doesn't have to pay what they more did. Period. We finished that sugya. What did we talk about? According to the leader, that the basar is potter, He doesn't have to pay for what Imurim would have done. He doesn't pay for the whole damages because he had an accomplice. He had Hektish. Hektish also damaged the Imurim part, so he doesn't have to pay. And the Gemara said that it's not dependent on the machlokes of Yosef of Nasan and Rabbanan, even the Rabbanan that even of Nasan that says usually that each accomplice is high for the whole thing. That's only when it was a bore. The bore is high for the whole thing, even though the shor pushed him in. But if it will be stam two azikim or shor two shvarim or one shor that has two, he also agrees that each one only did half the damage, and you only pay for your part. You don't pay for the accomplice because that's where it ended up. That was the club. That was the club. That the shor pushed it into the more to say the reason. I think I've written down that Taisus later on. I'm going to give says the reason is because the makkah came from the bore, so he's considered
It's
that
not
whole.
like the shore was not zik.
No, he just pushed him into the bore. And therefore the bore is the main mazik, and the shor also has to pay. But if for any reason he has a ptor, so then the bore will have to pay for it. New sugya. Amarava, Toda Zika, Govim Besora, Vena Govim Milachma. So korban Toda. It all says then the more brings it in the Toda, not a regular shlomim, because there's a din of lechem also. When you bring korban Toda, besides the animal, you also bring lechem, 40 breads, and what? And what do we say? Half of them are the matzah, half is chomer. It's all different. Divide them into 3. So there's also bread. So here it says that the Toda that was mazik, and it has to pay again according to Beis Glili. The Toda has to pay, but it doesn't have, but not from the bread. The bread is not part of the payment. Now, of course, the bread didn't damage anything, and even migufa, when you're going to collect from the animal, the lechem is not part of the damage. Right? The lechem nothing to do with the korban. So the way he said it, the chorah doesn't make sense. At the Gemara's kasha, lechem pshita, lechem pshita. That's partial that you don't collect from the bread. The bread didn't damage anything. You can't collect from it. So what's the issue? So you're right, that's not an issue. Surely you can't collect from the bread. But the question is, who has to bring the bread? That's going to be the Gemara's issue. Sefer Etzruchle. The end of the words of Rava was what he really meant to say. Nizik ochel bosa u'maskapa maybe lechem. That's what he meant to say. That the nizik is the one who's going to eat the meat. The toda was mazik somebody. The toda was mazik somebody. So he's the one who's going to get the animal. Now it's a korban. You have to bring it as a korban. You can't say, give it to me, I want to take it home, and it'll be my animal. Of course, you have to bring it as a korban. But the point that he gets paid for the animal is going to be that he's going to eat the meat of the korban. They bring it as a korban, and then mazik can't say, I want to eat the meat. The nizik says, it's mine. I'm the one who can eat the meat. I can invite my family to eat this korban because you damaged me, and the animal
as damages.
As damages.
Payment
But
of damages.
so now who has to pay for the bread? When you bring a korban toda, you have to bring breads also. Who's going to pay for the bread?
Oh,
Then mazik says to the nizik, you're going to eat the meat, so bring the bread. Bakasha. So he says, no, you bring the bread, and I'm going to eat the meat and the breads, right? And the bread. I don't know who eats the breads.
So no obstacles.
He has to bring the bread, but who gets the right? Maybe he has the right to. You're right. He has the right to eat it. That's the mazik.
the mazik has a right to
Eat the bread because
he has
that's
to bring the bread.
he has to bring the bread.
He's going to make this big suit of the 40 loaves and everything, and
Without
there's no meat.
meat.
Without the meat,
Right.
they'll have omelets.
But like the Nizik friends.
And it's
So the
eating.
meat without bread.
But this other guy, in other words, this other guy can eat the meat without bringing 40 loaves.
Right. The korban needs the 40 loaves,
It
but the
doesn't need
mazik
the-
has to pay for that. Yeah.
It's
When
korban.
It's not his korban,
he's
so
taking
he
the
has
meat
to eat
out.
that meat by a certain time.
Yes.
But why would he have to buy bread?
Who? The nizik?
Then he's like,
Because the most will say reason.
Okay.
Hanami pshita. This is Levi Yaakov's kasha. Pasha.
mitkaper, where are we?
It's
Mitkaper.
compare maybe the person who's bringing it's his korban. Miskaper means the one who is it's on his name. He's getting in Shemayim. In Shemayim,
Mitkaper is the one that brings the cup.
that's interesting. I didn't realize.
That's the term for someone
But,
bringing korban as
But he's getting the credit. The one who gets the credit for the korban. This I didn't realize that even though Nizik is going to eat, but it's still called his korban, and he's going to get the credit in Shemayim for bringing a korban toda.
And he really needs it now, since he's
This
a
credit is
damager.
His credit is called this copper, not kapore.
Not kapara. Okay. So the doesn't have a pshita. Why should he not have to bring the bread? Why should the one who's eating why should he not bring the bread? It's his korban. The more I thought maybe it's only called the chesher the zevach, means that it's preparing. What's
Sitting
called?
for prepared.
It's
Just to eat the.
in order.
It makes the zevach work.
It makes the zevach
zevach work.
good. That's the way to say it. That maybe that's the only purpose of the bread. The purpose of the bread is only to make the zevach work. And here I'm not eating the meat, so you have to make the korban should work. If it means the korban should work, excuse me. Okay.
The mice, they'll have a party, music's friends and music's friends, and they'll all have it, they'll all have friends.
Here's a toga doing mazik.
Well,
I'm sorry, we were holding?
There's a toga and then
Uh-huh.
filming in the
So you might think that share the zevach means it's only in order to eat the zevach. That's what the Gemara means. Not to be if you also the korban, that wouldn't work. You have to say share the zevach means that's in order to be able to eat the meat, you have to have the bread. So if so then you should bring the bread because you're the ones going to be eating the meat. He should say, I know I see lechem, you're going to eat the meat, and I should bring the lechem. You bring the lechem. It's like, what do you want to say, a mushal for that? Who's going to bring the water for the Netilas Yadayim? Something like that. Whoever's going to eat. Why should I bring the tablecloth? Whatever you can eat, whatever you need, so you bring it. The reason that you bring the bread is not just to make the korban edible. It's in order. That's included in the chiv and bringing a korban toda. So if you're getting the credit for the korban toda, you have to bring the bread. So that was Rabbi's chiddush. And even though the nizik is going to eat the meat, the mazik is the one who has to pay for the bread. And Rabbi said, but he could eat the bread. The mazik could eat the bread. Because why should the nizik eat the bread? Right.
Eat it alone.
What?
He's not going to eat it alone.
All the meat. Or the meat.
He's going to be with all his friends. With all of his friends.
Okay.
Because
They'll make a bread party.
Did the nizak have to get 40 loaves to eat
The nizik?
As long as there's 40 loaves, it doesn't matter if
And the whole say though, bring the korban. Whatever you do, you bring it. Whatever you do with the korban, whatever you do with the regular korban toda is done here also with the bread. The coin gets one out of every 10. Whatever the seder is done, it's bring the korban. But then once they take the korban home, in Yerushalayim, they didn't get Yerushalayim. So the nizik takes the meat to his home and invites his friends, and the mazik takes the breads to his home and he eats the breads.
and they don't have to be in the same.
Right.
But maybe what Hashem wants is there to be peace, and that they should
That's what
be good for us, and that
And
they
come all
should have
together,
a
the mazik with the nizik.
and everybody's happy.
They'll all eat it together in the mazik. And Nizik's friends and the mazik's friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we continue?
yeah, sure.
Sure.
Okay. The Mishnah says that another condition to be chayiv is only if it belongs to Jews that are part of the bris of Avram Avinu. That means who not? Goyim. The mutimai. Either muti goyim. Haktani Bava Kamma. Mishnah means to say that a goy you're not chayiv if you mazik a goy. Of course, if a goy is mazik, he's chayiv. But if you mazik a goy, you're not chayiv. Only chayiv if you mazik a Jew. They're in the bris. It's interesting why the Mishnah calls Jews b'nei bris. Like that's not the subject so much. Bris. The point is that they're Jews, but the way the Mishnah explains is that it means they're b'nei bris.
But the nechasim here is what
The damage, right.
The damaged property.
Right. It has to be Jewish owned property. And it means not a goy. It's a Mishnah later on. Goy. Potter. It's a Mishnah that says so. We don't have time our Mishnah to say that in a cryptic way.
The one that you mean deer rights? What are we talking about? That somebody who damages goyish property
His potter doesn't have to pay.
Okay.
So
Get away.
okay, nowadays, whatever. But the halachically, if there would be the Jew on the Shlomo Melech, so then it'd be potter. The answer is ton of other mafarish. You're right. There's us explaining it. It says it in our mission like a title, and over there it explains it, elaborates, and it explains it that's what it means. But the Anachim, no, that's what it means. That you only chayiv if you damage Jewish property. If you damage Goyish property, you're not chayiv. Next case says the Mishnah Nechasim Yuchadim, which means we thought it means in the Mishnah that it has an owner, and hefker. We just said in the Mishnah like that, but hefker you put. And the question was, of course, you put if you mazik hefker. So the Gemara is going to talk about that. What does the mean? So it isn't so simple the pshat that we said that it means hefker. The Gemara is going to say 3 pshatim, and our pshat is going to be the middle one. I'm Rav Yehuda. So we have a couple of Amadi Amram over here. The first one is Rav Yehuda. I'm Rav Yehuda. Not a question of who the nizik is, but who the mazik is. That has to be definite owner. The Yuchada means that it's definite who is the mazik. But if you have a question who's mazik, that's a shor got damaged. But the question was which was the shor mazik. There were 2 swarms standing around there, and then they come back and they see Levi's shor on the floor, and either was Reuben shor that killed him or Shimon's. Each one says it was you. Maybe that's what it means. So chasam means you have to know for sure who the mazik is. If not, you don't have to pay. Why not? Because if you can't prove who the damager is, you don't have to pay. But the more kash is that it says a mission later on. It says so. There were 2 shvar running after a third, and then they turn the corner and they come around, and there's 1 shvar on the floor and the 2 shvar standing by. You don't know who's the mazik. Zalma Shalchizik, Zalma Shalchizik. The two owners of the Shvarim say that it was you. I mean, I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't know. You don't know, but nobody knows. The Dinish name to both of them are part because Hamotzim Chavel Varaya. So what do you need our Mishnah to say that for? It says it later on. The answer is Tani Vodam Afarish. And that Mishnah is explaining our Mishnah. That's what our Mishnah means. That you have to know for sure who the mazik is. The next.
No one of them definitely was the mother.
Yeah, but you don't know who. Each one says maybe it's you. He said maybe it was you. I don't know. So why should I pay? Second teretz, but Masisa Tana in a brisa says like this: Pratla Nechse Hefker, that you put if you mazik Hefker, and that's what we said. And the Kash is what's the case? Who's is this Hefker? Who's Hefker? Even with the Nagel Torah, you don't know the Hefker that we or mazik Hefker means the mazik is we know what a mazik is. He's a Jew, and he knows his shor was the mazik, but it was mazik Hefker. So is a chiddush that he's potter? Of course, man tamalei. Who's going to demand for him to pay? So that's not a chiddush. Ella the Nagel Torah the Hefker, the Torah did what's the opposite? That a Hefker shor was mazik our shor, so he's potter. The Hefker shor is potter.
Well, again, stupid.
What's the question?
Who's he going to take to court?
Who's he going to take to court?
Yeah, isn't it the same kind of question? Monteverde.
Two to them, two of the Hefker. The third Hefker was mazik, so he's potter. And if he'd be chayiv,
Take the shor from Hefker.
that's the way the Gemara says. But it's not the way to ask it. Lays level lacy. Like the Gemara says, if the Hefker was shor, so go get it. Take it if you want it. Lays level lacy, go take it. Is that the
What
way?
would be the halacha? That you go migufa, you come and you could take the right. What happens if Reuven shor is mazik Shimon shor? He goes to Reuven and says, "Give me your shor." So it's true. He goes to Reuven. That's the one who he takes the court. But what's he taking? He's taking the mazik.
He'll take the mazik.
So here too, you can do the same thing.
Taking your shor.
Is there a difference if he's chayiv or just take it because it's Hefker?
Yeah, you can take it even if it didn't.
Does it become a muad? That's another question. Does it become a muad? That's interesting. I think the Gemara is going to have someplace eventually something about that. Could it become a muad? But as far as getting paid right now, the Gemara says he's saying it's potter. If you want it, you can take it. So it's the same as being chayiv. So the Gemara says,
That's what the question is.
Mm.
And now he comes to the guy who was and says, "Hey, that guy was mazik me. I'm taking him."
Yeah, they got the terrace is that somebody picked it up. It means the shore Hefker was mazik your shore, and then you want to go get it, and someone else picked it up first. And you tell the guy, this show is a mazik, and it belongs to me. So he says, no, it doesn't belong to you because the shafka is potter. If the shafka will be chayiv, so then he has a right. He has a right to it. And someone else picks it up. He says, I'm first because it was mazik me. But now Allah is know that the shafka is potter. So someone else picks up the shor first. The shor mazik, he's allowed to keep it.
I see.
That was terrace number 2. Ravina Amar, terrace number 3. That if the shor was mazik, so it says miyuchedes, has to be nochasimam miyuchedim. What does that mean? It has to be the same owner. Something like that it has to have an owner. But over here, if it was gourd, but then you decide to be mafkirid, the guy's coming to you. This is a big problem, like big that you were mafkirid.
And then the owner.
And the owner would decide to be mafkirid. They know that the police are coming after him because he owes $10,000 that he was to show as mazik,
I donated it to Hex.
hektish, or a mafkirid, and then he's potter.
He's about to
That's
before
not fair.
damage.
No, after the damage.
After the damage.
How
Okay,
can you
so
not?
and then someone else went when it was
It's
there.
chayiv.
Oh no,
No,
doesn't make a
because
difference.
Even if he takes it, it's not going to cover the loss. Mafia, so let him take it.
It's not gonna cover his loss.
Muad, not only with control.
Oh,
Tom,
He damaged his $1 million Cadillac.
but Tom, you always only get me glue from.
yeah,
Even if he was positive $1 million,
you
it
pay half of
damage.
the
it was his. It was
Yes, how can you got
How do you
to
pay
after
the value of the car?
That's like ridiculous. How does it work?
and he's potter.
That doesn't
I
make sense.
had a discussion. I didn't find the terrace. Every mazik should do that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Whenever you mazik, you're gonna be mazik after the shore, and then you potter.
Yeah,
It's not your fault, you know.
it doesn't make sense still. It's after the fact.
Every person should
Yeah,
do
that's
that.
what
Whenever
I'm
he's
saying.
mazik,
Well, let's say the regular one is that it's not worth as much as this.
it's
The
not
show's
worth
worth
it.
$1,000 and it was mazik something, it broke something for $100.
Again, that's
So
not.
he's not gonna go in now and be mafkir his $1,000 show.
But if it's mazik more or equal, mazik more, so you'll be after a shore and he's potter. We don't understand the
He's gonna get this big plaque.
Leaving it.
Donated by the Brown Hotel.
No, but you can find this idea. I don't know the reason, but you find the idea. It might be a class cluster. Everyone should go right away.
It's not-
Right.
I'll get
No,
there.
first of all, it's a knas. It's different over there because of the knas. Means really nothing's coming to the other party. The whole thing is a knas. So it doesn't what's the word? It's not so
Not so strange.
but that's what it seems to say. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what it seems to say. That after your short damage, if you makti shalom afkut, say potter. Tani nam yochi yes like Rabbi Yehuda. Afilu no gavach achiktish no gavach achivke potter. Whatever it says before that, it says this even a bigger chiddush that after damage you will makti shalom afkut your potter. Shenema vod bevala behemis ish o isha achetei misa v'mada bedin shavin keachad. That the pasuk talks about making it into a muad, and it says that it was warned by the owner, and then he continued to kill. Only if the Marsa Drash, only if Misa v'amad b'din shavin keachad. The Misa means that the damage that it did, it killed the ox, or he killed the person. And the mother b'din, the Gemara puts out. I don't know what I didn't get this at the end. What is the drash? Misa v'amad b'din shavin keachad. The court case has to be with the same owner as the damage was done. The Misa is the damage that he did, and the mother didn't put him in court. It has to be on the same status. Here the case would be that has to have the same status, that it was the same owner. But if it's a different owner now that doesn't have an owner or it's hektish, so even though during the damage he was the owner, but during the mother bedin he's not the owner, so he's not going to be chayim. The Master Kasha Ugmar din lo beinan. Does it not have to be the same owner even at the time that you're going to execute the halacha, the punishment? Hashar Yisrael B'Gmar Dinu Dechsiv. The pasuk is talking about that the shore is going to be stoned when it says this halacha. This pasuk that we just brought before. So what does the Gemara want to say? That even if it's the same owner during the court case, but if it isn't the same owner by the time they want to do skila, also you're not going to give it skila. That you don't kill the shore only if it's the same owner from the time of the damage and the court case and the time that they're going to execute the halacha. It has to be the same owner. And the Gemara is happy with that. We stop here for the day, and it comes out that you're allowed to, or whatever. If you did, if you mafka the shore after it was damaged, you put to the pay. And the question is, everyone's going to do that.
No, I'm thinking, well, you want to do it because if let's say it's a short time that you could take the shore, so he'd rather that the guy who he was nazik, his nizik, will take him and be happy.
Rather than be mafki.
Rather than be mafki and the guy's gonna have time.
That's true. By the time it's okay. By the time it's okay, but I think by the time
makes sense.
I had a reason why I came in by the time.
Why would you want to be mafki? And then the guy's gonna say, "Hey, you never paid me back." Well, okay, you're right.
I wrote that it doesn't. This halach, I wrote it in my notes. I'm not sure that this halach doesn't apply to a time because by the time it's mukhlat right away. Automatically it goes to that's a sugi later on. Yusham Ashor, Yuchlat Ashor, something. I think that as soon as you did the damage, it already belongs to the nizik. So it doesn't help the imam. It's nizik. So the whole thing is only by muad. And by muad, you have to pay more than no damage.
Right.
So how come you're not going to be? Everyone should be mafkish. They should be putter. So the heart can't be. I don't know. I don't know the answer is. Maybe it is going to be, but the kash is not going to be.
Rabbi, on the second case, whoever's kona the ox, is he chayiv to pay because it was privately owned at the time it was damaging?
I missed the beginning of the sentence.
In the second case where there's he's mafker the ox, whoever's kona it after it, is he chayiv to pay because it was owned?
No, that's good for the chiddush. That's what it's saying. That I think that's what's being said. That the hefker shor is putter. So therefore, even if somebody took it, he's allowed to take it. Then he doesn't have any responsibility. The mazik can't come. The nizik can't come and say that this shor damaged me. He says it was hefker, so it's not chayiv. He can't take from the meat. He doesn't have to pay for the amount.
Even if at the time it was owned, at the time it had private ownership.
Here the case is at the time that the second terrorist by Masih Satana was that at the time of the damage it was already hefker. It was hefker. A hefker shor damage, and then someone picked it up. Is this case?
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought
the middle case?
He made it. I thought the new case that we just discussed. I thought he made it hefker after.
Oh, the third. You're right. I didn't know what's going on. The middle case was that a hefker shor was damaged. The third case is that a privately owned shor damaged, and then the owner is mafkrid, so he doesn't have to pay. So what will be the question on that case?
My question is if whoever's kona the ox after that point, if he would be chayiv to pay because it was
Nagach, and then Hifkir, and then somebody else picked up the shore. Someone else was because I think not, because the Gemara says it has to be careful. The Gemara Rosh is that has to be the same owner, both by the damaging and by the payment, the Hamad Bedin. So it's not the same owner anymore. I can't say for sure, but I guess when the Gemara is Rosh, it sounds like only if it's the same owner. Nagach,
okay.
and
Yeah,
then
makes
Hifkir, and then
sense.
somebody else picked it up. I think not.
Thank you.
It's not the same. I see that. I saw that he brings the tour says that he himself was the mistake. He was mafkid, and then he was back there.
And he still
He
doesn't
says,
have
hey,
to pay.
no, so he says that you have to pay
That you have to pay.
because you have the
Yeah, because it's
hesitant
careful,
amount
even though
of
they have to give it to him.
But let's see from that. And in
That
the
it could
other
be somebody
cases,
else, then he doesn't have to pay. So what did we just say? That if the same owner took it back, it doesn't have to be mafkir. If it's the same owner, then he would be chayiv. But if somebody else picked it up, then he doesn't have to pay. Okay. Yashikach, everybody. Thank you.
Clay Stefanski brings a little known case. I'm not sure how it's shot. Tell me if you think it's